No way Mike should go to Pyongyang in the face of all that. Pence agreed we should show strength rather than weakness, and in short order, the tweets went out. I have asked Secretary of State Mike Pompeo not to go to North Korea at this time because I feel we are not making sufficient progress with respect to the denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula. Additionally, because of our much tougher trading stance with China, I do not believe they are helping with the process of denuclearization as they once were, despite the UN sanctions which are in place. Secretary Pompeo looks forward to going to North Korea in the near future, most likely after our trading relationship with China is resolved. In the meantime, I would like to send my warmest regards and respect to Chairman Kim. I look forward to seeing him soon. I was delighted. Another bullet dodged. Shortly afterward, I spoke to Pompeo, who was reconciled to Trump's decision. Trump himself said a few days later, "The sanctions should be as strong as you can make them. Don't give them any breathing room. Put more sanctions on." Trump still wondered what Xi Jinping was telling Kim Jong-un, and I told him for sure it wasn't helpful. I gave Trump a one-pager I had drafted entirely on my own, speculating on what Xi might be saying, based on my years of involvement in these issues. I hoped it might wake him up or get him thinking. I had tried everything else, so I figured I had nothing to lose. Trump read the script, but didn't react to it. At least he had heard what I believed was the real situation. The transcript of my version of Xi's comments to Kim is as follows. "Look, Jong-un, you can't trust Trump no matter how many nice letters he writes. He's trying to sucker you like all capitalist salesmen. Don't fall for it. What Trump really wants is to turn North Korea into South Korea. Trump, Pompeo, and Bolton are all the same. They only appear different so they can mess with your head. Americans have short-term minds. They are erratic and inconsistent, and they can't be trusted. What's more, Moon Jae-in thinks like they do, except he's even worse. He's a pacifist. We can run all over Moon, but the Americans understand power. That's why you have to stick with me. It's the only way for you to keep your nuclear weapons program, get real financial aid, and hold on to power. If you proceed down this road of negotiations with the Americans, you're going to be hanging from a tree in Pyongyang before too long. I guarantee it. Stick with me. All you have to do is keep hiding your nuclear weapons, missiles, and production facilities. Our friends in Iran will continue testing your missiles as they have for 2 decades. In return, you can build them nuclear warheads in your hidden underground plants. I will buy more Iranian oil and increase our capital investment there, offsetting U.S. sanctions. Iran will do what I say after that. To deceive the U.S., keep giving back their soldiers' bones. They get very emotional about such things. Same with Japan. Send back the bodies of the people your father kidnapped. Abe will weep in public and start giving you suitcases full of dollar bills. Right now, I'm in a trade war with Trump. He's inflicting some damage on China's economy, and if this trade war continues, it could hurt us badly. Fortunately, Trump is surrounded by Wall Street advisors who are just as short-term as most Americans and just as weak as Moon Jae-in. I'll agree to buy more of their precious soybeans and some of their technology, which I will then steal and sell back to their consumers at lower prices, and that will get them to back off. When we get together next month, I'll explain in more detail. I'll also lay out aid packages that even Japan can't match. I won't violate any UN sanctions because I won't have to. I'll provide supplies and assistance the sanctions don't cover, and I'll hold the border police up from watching too closely at what's going on. You'll be fine. Not only do you not have to give up your nukes, pretty soon you'll be able to have South Korea fall into your lap like ripe fruit. Think long-term, Jong-un. You want to be on the winning side of history, and that's China. The Americans are no friends of ours. On August 29th, for some reason, Mattis and Dunford held a disastrous press conference, during which Mattis was asked about U.S. forces Korea's readiness in light of the war games being suspended. He gave a long, confused answer, the substance of which, however, taken fairly, indicated a split from Trump on the issue. That set Trump off, not surprisingly, riffing about what was wrong with Mattis, the generals, war games, and so on. I said Mattis was working to clear up the confusion, but Trump wanted to tweet, which he did later. Statement from the White House. President Donald J. Trump feels strongly that North Korea is under tremendous pressure from China because of our major trade disputes with the Chinese government. At the same time, we also know that China is providing North Korea with considerable aid, including money, fuel, fertilizer, and various other commodities. This is not helpful. Nonetheless, the president believes that his relationship with Kim Jong-un is a very good and warm one, and there is no reason at this time to be spending large amounts of money on joint U.S.-South Korea war games. Besides, the president can instantly start the joint exercises again with South Korea and Japan if he so chooses. If he does, they will be far bigger than ever before. As for the U.S.-China trade disputes and other differences, they will be resolved in time by President Trump and China's great president Xi Jinping. Their relationship and bond remain very strong. I thought this was all mostly laughable, but it didn't undercut our basic positions. In Trump White House terms, this was a victory, a good day at the office. The next day, China criticized the tweets, more progress in my view. Mattis told Pompeo and me at our weekly breakfast in the wardroom on August 30th that he regretted even having the press conference that precipitated this, and I doubted he would hold another for a long time. Moon and Trump spoke on September 4th. Trump complained that he had had a phenomenal meeting in Singapore and that a good friendship with Kim had been built, and now suddenly there's no deal. He wondered what had happened. Of course, Singapore had not been phenomenal unless you were a North Korean. KJU didn't make friends with his enemies, and there wasn't a real deal. Other than that, Moon was still singing the Sunshine Policy song, saying Kim was entirely committed to improving relations with the United States and denuclearizing, but Kim Yong-chol and others around him had rude manners. An interesting surmise. Moon suggested that Trump meet again with Kim Jong-un. Just what we needed. Moon was still pressing for his own summit with Kim in mid-September, something he likely wanted for domestic political reasons. Pompeo, Kelly, and I gave Trump another Kim Jong-un letter on September 10th, which he read in the Oval, commenting as he went, "This is a wonderful letter. This is a really nice letter. And listen to what he says about me," followed by his reading one oleaginous passage after another. As Kelly and I said later, it was as if the letter had been written by Pavlovians who knew exactly how to touch the nerves, enhancing Trump's self-esteem. Trump wanted to meet Kim, and he didn't want to hear anything contrary, which is probably why he didn't want to hear me explaining that another meeting soon was a bad idea. "John, you have a lot of hostility," he said, to which I replied, "The letter is written by the dictator of a rat-shit little country. He doesn't deserve another meeting with you until he has met with Pompeo, as he agreed to just a couple of weeks ago." "You have such hostility," said Trump. "Of course, I have the most hostility, but you have a lot of hostility." On we went until, out of nowhere, Trump said, "I want the meeting the first week after the election, and Mike should call today and ask for it. You should say the Kim letter is extremely nice. The president has great affection for Chairman Kim. He wants to release the letter because it's so good for the public to see the strength of the relationship, and he wants to have a meeting after the election. Where would he like to meet?" Outside the Oval, Kelly said to me, "I'm sorry that meeting was so rough on you," and Pompeo seemed discouraged. I said I was ecstatic at the outcome. After all, We had just gained a 5-week delay in any possible Trump-Kim meeting, during which time anything could happen in Trump world. We should take it and run. A continuing, very significant problem was Trump's relentless desire to withdraw U.S. military assets from the Korean Peninsula, part of his general reduction of U.S. forces worldwide. September 1st came and went, and Mattis reaffirmed in early October his concern for our military readiness on the peninsula. He and Dunford would have to testify in Congress after January 1st during the budget process, and it seemed hard to imagine the problem wouldn't surface then. Pompeo finally obtained another meeting with Kim Jong-un in mid-October, where Kim complained at length about our economic sanctions, but offered little in new ideas from his side. The main outcome of the meeting was to restart working-level discussions, which I considered inevitable, but bad news nonetheless. Here is where the U.S. concession train would really start steaming along. But we had at least survived past the November congressional elections without any major disasters and could now face the next round of Trump enthusiasm to meet with Kim Jong-un. Chapter 5.